Hello, welcome to Ephemera Files by Tommy, and I am going to be jumping around with no rhyme or reason or order on my videos for probably the next couple of months. I am trying to get caught up. I have got so many in progress projects that I almost have no room to work. So I wanted to go ahead and share with you my idea for making this cover though. And this is using the multiple kits from Nanine at Collage Type. And in this series, which is called Ivory Dreams, I wanted to show you how you don't just have to use one kit in a journal. You can mix a bunch of different kits and still have a cohesive journal. Now, there's nothing wrong with an eclectic journal. I do that sometimes too. But I know sometimes we worry about, well, does this match? Does this go? Does it clash? And I'm going to just show you a little bit in this particular series about how I get past using multiple kits and worrying about if they go together, or feeling like I just need to stick to one kit, because I do that sometimes too. Anyway, I am going to start with this box that I've already cut just one side. I cut off part of this side of the box, and it was a shampoo and conditioner set, and I left everything else attached. And what I really wanted was this window on the front. So now I have to do something so that it actually works as a window on the front, or else I've just wasted it. So the first thing I am going to do is I am going to come through and glue these flaps down. The reason that I left these flaps attached is I wanted just a little bit of extra sturdiness on this cover. It's not going to be a hard cover per se, but it's also not going to be like a soft fabric cover. I still have some worries about it being sturdy enough though, so I went ahead and left these flaps on. And then this flap I am definitely leaving on, because that is such a narrow little window area right there that I want to make sure that I strengthen it. And that is why I cut the side of that box and left this strip that fits just inside that window area. And then I'm going to glue it down first, and then I'll glue these flaps over. Now, while I let this dry, I am going to go ahead and show you real quick. I have 7 signatures set up for this journal, and I'm kind of excited about it. I did use extra papers from a paper pad for each of the signature covers, but I love Nanine's kit. And so I will do a big flip through of all of that in a different video, but I wanted to show you that I already have the signatures figured out. They're just not sewn together. And I'm not going to sew them into the signature, or excuse me, I'm not going to sew them into the cover today, because I like to do a hidden signature, whatever it's called, a spine that glues in and you don't see the signature stitching, at least on most of my journals. And these are the 2 papers that I'm going to use for my kit. Let's see. And this is the paper that I'm going to use on the inside. And so we're going to put this on first, because what I do with the outside will take care of whatever needs to be covered up on this part. But I need to cut this. And I just need to cut it exactly in half for the first thing. I have to cut off the strip at the top that they leave on to bind it into the journal, or into the paper pad. And this paper pad is Heidi Swapp Wanderlust, but it's from a while ago, so I don't know that it is still available. It may not be, but there's a lot of papers out there that are just gorgeous that you could use. Let's see, I know that I have to cut off the top, and I have to cut it off just below the 5. And I say just below the 5 because there's a number 5 on the paper. I do not know if you can see that or not. Actually, let's just make sure. Yes, right here on this line. And then I am just going to cut this paper in half. And that will glue right on there, and I still think I need just a hair more taken off. I said just below the 5 and I went too much just. And so that, yes, that fits exactly on there. And this one did not cut all the way through, and I didn't even realize it. And that will go right there. And what I want to do is see just how much of that I'm going to lose with that window, because I may want to switch the two and put that one there. Yep, I lose much less. So I'm going to put this one here on the back and this one on the front, because I'm going to be opening up this window. So I want to lose as little as possible. So I am going to just line this up real quick. Well, maybe not real quick because I don't want to mess it up. And I am going to just trace the inside of that window. And I just want to, about, I don't know, about, what is that, about 1/4 of an inch, just a little bit more. I'm just going to cut about 1/4 of an inch inside of that line. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it does need to be inside the line enough so that you can fold it over the box cover. The box that we're making the cover from. And I wanted to cut it like this because then I can reuse that center paper as well. Go. See, I've got this, and that's definitely usable. And now I'm going to take a pair of scissors and just clip this from this cut part here on the corner over to the corner that I traced from the cover. And it's better to cut it just a little bit short than long. Don't go outside of your line. All right, and I am going to glue this down. I'm going to put the glue on here instead of on the cover itself. Is that what I want to do? Yes. Nope, I don't want to glue this yet. Oh, goodness gracious. All right, so these two papers, this video is just going to be a hot mess and I apologize. This one, I've already tried to find the placement that would be best because of the opening, and I've creased there so that I can get it landing right where I want it to again. All right. So I'm just going to use the end of my craft knife and use it as a bone folder type dealie. There you go. And I am going to do the same thing. I am going to place this on the paper and line up where I've already got decided that I want it to be on that paper. And I'm just going to take my pencil again and trace around there. And I'm going to do the same process. I'm going to cut just inside that line with my craft knife. So that it can wrap around as well. And I just thought of something. I think that you could probably read all that. So I'm going to take some of this packing tape and cover up at least the words. I don't mind if the gold and the blue shine through. Don't think I want the words. This is just plain old brown packing tape. And if the words still show through, I can obviously decorate. The cover just a little bit more. Let's see. Yep, I probably need to put some there too. Goodness gracious. There we go. I think that that will take care of everything. All right, so now I can go ahead and glue this on here, following the creases, and I'm going to cut my corners first. And I just come in at a little angle, and just before I get to where my folds meet, I give a little curved cut. Am I doing this in the right order yet? Yes, this one goes first. Gosh, thinking is hard sometimes. All right, so I'm just going to put glue on this part and then set this on it. I think that that would be the wiser way to go in this instance. Yes, that worked. I do not see any words shining through that I didn't want to shine through. And what I did, I just slid this cover up to the crease that I had in the paper. That way I knew that I was right up at it and it would be aligned properly. Now this is going to be too long, so I am going to cut off part of this just so it doesn't peek through the window. That's not sticking down very well. I think I'm going to put just a little bit of tape on there as well. Oh, that wasn't what I wanted. Okay. Trying to just tear off a piece that was this narrow and just do that a couple of times. Apparently I'm going to do it this way. Alright, so now I've got that to use for something later. Alright, now I'm just going to glue these pieces down, making sure to have a nice neat corner on the edges. I'm not sure yet if I am going to use any metal corners on this, and so I want to make sure that it looks neat even if I don't. And while this sets up, I'm going to go ahead and do the back cover before I worry about working on the window. I'm not covering the spine at this time. So I'm going to make sure that I've got my creases. Because I want to make sure that they are absolutely where I want them. And then I will take my craft knife again. Just make those nice and sharp. Cut off my corners with the little round. And I did not crease on the outside edge. I'm going to go ahead and wrap that around the spine, although it's all going to be covered up and you won't see it anyway. Let's make sure I've got everything upright. That's that way and that's that way. All right. I just really don't want to glue my cover on upside down. Not that it's not fixable, but sometimes it's really just a pain. And you just don't want to have to do it again. You've already done it once, right? I just realized I didn't put glue on the outside cover. Is it too late to do that? I don't think so. But what made me think of it was wiggling a little more than I thought it should. See, everything is fixable, like I said. That was funny. It wouldn't have ruined the journal, but the back would have felt a little strange, crinkly. Okay, now let's try this again. Okay, now we're going to go and do the same kind of snip that we did on the other one. And we may have to go back and do a couple of snips just because that's kind of a curved opening, and I don't know that it's going to be just a flat, here you go thing. So I think that this is called easing the seam or easing the curve in sewing. And it's just making a series of little snips so that your fabric, or your paper in this case, will lie down flat against the curve when it gets turned under. And so I just go around until I am perpendicular again. I make an angled cut and an angled cut. And when I'm sure that I'm far enough out, I can make another perpendicular cut. And do the same thing here, and may have to come back while we're gluing because we may not have cut it enough. I may not have cut it enough. You may not have cut it enough. That makes it a we, right? I don't know. All right, so I am going to do the long straight folds first, and I'm just going to put a bead of glue right here and then fold the paper over into it. And then I'll come back and I will do the corners, because the corners are just a little more fussy and labor, not intensive, but focus intensive, I guess. So I'm just going to curve that around, or not, fold it around. This one's not curving, it's just folding. That's probably okay to take those clips off. All right, now I'm going to come back and I'm going to put just a little bead of glue on the cardboard, not on the paper, and I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to do this and press up against the inside of that curve. Actually, I'll do that now. I'll go ahead and like pre-fold it, and then I'll just put my little bead of glue right there and press those little cut pieces into the glue. Getting a bunch of glue on myself in the process, but that's okay. Not like I'm not used to it. You see how that makes that nice little curve there? And if you want it to be just a little bit smoother, take something and burnish that curve out. And there you go. I'm going to do the other three corners. All right, I'm going to take all the clothespins off and I'll be right back. Okay, so here is our cover with the opening, and I think that turned out really well, except for this piece of paper is a little bit crooked. Hopefully when I get done with it you won't notice that. You probably didn't notice it until I said it anyway. You may still not notice it. Who knows? All right, so the next thing I want to do is this is just going to fit right snug up in there on that cover. So I am going to go ahead and glue that in, since it's simple, straightforward. Just do it. Okay, now it's time to do this one. And we're going to do the same thing that we did here with this one. And you may be thinking, oh, that's going to show though. Well, it will for a minute, but not for very long. So I'm going to just go ahead and glue. I'm going to stay outside of that line because I do not need any glue on the inside of it right now. That might mess up my whole process. I'm going to do the same thing that I did before, and I did not line it up perfectly. It's okay. I'll just go in and do my little snips the way that I showed you for the other one, for doing the inside of it. So I'm going to come in with my scissors, and I'm just going to snip those off a little closer. I still need them to wrap around, but I do not need them to be long. All right, and so this time I'm going to pre-fold because I know that this is going to need some help to stay where I want it to stay. So I'm going to pre-fold. I'm going to take my craft knife and burnish it down. and do everything I can to teach this how I want it to fold. And we'll see if it learns. I may have cut just a little too, I think that was the one that was short. Yeah, I think that one was the one that was already short. And I will need my clothespins for this one because I'm going to glue and clip to make sure that it gets held down. And I'm putting the glue on the paper that is folding over and not the paper on the cover. All right, that is not easy. Not because it's like, you got to figure this out, you got to figure this out. It's because it's very small. And thankfully I use Fabri-Tac, which will just rub off the excess most of the time. I mean, it's rubbing off fine right now. I have had instances where it did not. Now you may be thinking, well, that doesn't look very good, Tommy. And you're right. At this particular moment, it does not. But that's because we haven't done the last step yet. But what I want to do is get all those clothespins off and rub off all the excess glue. I need my glue eraser. Dollar Tree. I love this thing. All right, here's my secret weapon. And this is why I'm not worried about that edge showing. Although now it looks like maybe I should be worried about that edge showing. Let's see. Because that edge does show. Just ever so slightly. So I think maybe... I'm going to have to use some lace around the inside anyway. So maybe I'll put some lace around that opening. And it still looks nice and clean on the inside. So if I put some lace around the opening on the outside, and then this over the top of it, the lace will probably peek out the edge just ever so slightly, depending on what lace I use. I could put this around the edge, but I don't think it's going to reach to the edge of the... Let's see if I can get it lined up. Let's see, what else could I do? I could put some washi around there, and then this would go over it. I think that's what I'll do. And then I'll add the lace. And then I will miter the corner here. Of course, I kind of need the other piece over there to miter the corner. All right, let's see if that worked. I'll go ahead and take this out of the package. Since I'm getting ready to put it on there, I think it'll be safe. Yep, that worked. It worked. All right, so I need to decide if I want to stain this or leave it plain. Just not sure which I should do, because I thought about making all the branches brown, obviously, and then the flowers pink and the leaves green, but I also kind of like it like that too, especially since it's called Ivory Dreams, and I'm thinking that maybe just leaving it neutral like that would be good. I think I just talked myself into it. All right, so I'm just going to take my glue and I'm going to center that on there, and then I'm going to put something flat and heavy on it and let it dry for a long time. And I am just putting the glue on the edges. I realize that some of the other part will also be resting on the base, but I think it's going to be a little too hard for me to figure out exactly where that would be. And especially, I mean, I could take and draw an outline, but then the outline might show on the inside since I'm not covering it up like I was last time. And this really doesn't have a right side up or an upside down that I can tell anyway. Let's see if I can just get that on there evenly and straight. And I need something heavy. I think an atlas should work. It is all dry now, and I really like the way it turned out. Even if it didn't go exactly according to plan, my plan anyway, I think it looks gorgeous. And then here are what the signatures are going to look like inside. And so that is what you will see. Let's see if I can lift that up a little bit because it will be fuller. Isn't that just so pretty? So pretty. All right, I'm happy with that. If you'd like to see this journal as it progresses, it will be listed on a playlist called Ivory Dreams on my YouTube channel. Thanks for joining me today, and as always, be kind. Bye.